Next up, I want to call the next controller of the city of New York, Brad Landon.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Steve. It's great to be here and to follow Fodder and Carlina and Christine and Jan with all these amazing advocates and fighters. You know, a pandemic gives you an opportunity to see clearly like what you had before and then make new plans for what kind of city we want to build. And I actually feel like we have one model of that even in like council members, because Steve and I are here as the outgoing council members. And then we have these incoming council members, Alexa and Sandy, and Tiffany and Jen. And I think you say, oh yeah, I like the city that it looks like we're headed toward. Like that's what I want. And also, I think even though Steve's done a great job shepherding this and championing it, and hopefully we're going to get it done right now, I'm excited about the next council and what they're going to fight for, all both the continuing, like Carlina, and new council members. It really helps you think, all right, what did we have before and what do we want in the future? And look, when you say what was essential in our neighborhoods and in our economy, it's pretty clear all New Yorkers will say, you know, what I loved was those small businesses and the commercial streets I could walk down and walk to. Everything from that bodega to that neighborhood theater, to that clothing store, to that bookstore where I knew folks, where I could connect, where I got what I needed. Lots of people said that's what I needed. I didn't hear one person say, you know what, we really got to make sure it survives the pandemic, are speculative, predatory real estate private equity firms. I got to say, not one person has said to me, let's make sure that's what we have on the other side of the pandemic. And let's be clear, that's the choice we're making right now. Because if we don't adopt commercial rent stabilization, we know clearly what we'll get. And actually, you can already see it in my neighborhood. We've got a new predatory equity real estate investment company, private equity company called Greenbrook Partners, that since the beginning of the pandemic has bought up 60 buildings in Brooklyn, in Park Slope, in Prospect Heights, in Fort Greene. And what are they doing? Of course, they're throwing out the residential tenants and they're throwing out the small business commercial tenants as well. That's who benefits from not having commercial rent stabilization. Not your neighbors who want to be able to go to their beloved small businesses, not small business people who want to know when they invest in a business that it'll survive and thrive and they can recover their investment over a period of time with hard work and sweat equity. Not the other businesses on the block or even the other building owners on the block who benefit from small business investments and rising, who benefits from not having commercial rent stabilization, are folks who want to be able to buy up real estate for profit on a speculative business model, and then once that block has come up a bit, based on the hard work of all the small businesses and neighbors on that block, be able to double or triple the rent or acquire the building, imagine they will. And maybe they leave it vacant and they're hoping for that CVS, maybe it stays vacant a long time, maybe they get that tenant, but everything that the folks in the neighborhoods want is lost. So, like, we have to be honest, there are winners and losers here, and that's why there's some folks going to fight very hard against this bill. But let's be clear, the losers are speculators and profiteers. The winners are all the rest of us. The people that want thriving neighborhoods, small businesses, neighbors, building owners who want to be part of a neighborhood that comes up together. And I'll just end by saying, you know, as someone who's looking forward to being comptroller, we do need to pay attention to sort of gains and losses, to what's in our economy, to how investment is returned, to what kind of business models can thrive. But I submit to you, a thriving New York City is one that has small business energy and vitality in all its neighborhoods, and one of the very best things we can do right now to ensure that future out of this pandemic is to pass commercial rent stabilization. I'm proud to be here today. Thank you, Steve. Thank you to all the advocates and all our colleagues. Let's get this done.
Yeah. Woo!
Thank you, Brad.
You know, it strikes me also that when we have local small businesses, the money that is spent at those small businesses stays in our community. When we have a corporate-owned chain, the money goes elsewhere.
That's right.
And it goes to a private equity firm, and it goes to the corporate backers of the chain. It does not stay in our community. And that's something we need to change. Next, I want to call somebody from an organization that's very near and dear to my heart, Sonia Perez from the Street Vendor Project. For far too long, there's this false narrative out there that street vendors and brick and mortar shops are in competition. That's not how it works. When you have a thriving small business community, street vendors and brick and mortar shops can both thrive and live in symbiosis. So I'm just thrilled that in solidarity today, we have Sonia Perez from the Street Vendors Project.
Hola, buenos días a todos y todas. Mi nombre es Sonia Pérez y pertenezco al proyecto de vendedores ambulantes. Desde antes de la pandemia, los pequeños negocios ya enfrentaban muchos problemas de hospedamiento y no poder renovar el contrato de renta debido a la inflación de dicha renta y la intensificación. Lo que ha hecho la pandemia es sumar otros problemas que ya existen y al no ver nada de ingresos para los negocios, entraron en un confinamiento y en cuarentena. Los negocios no tuvieron cero en su caso. Y muchos de ellos tenían que cerrar pagando alquiler y esto los obligó a cerrar. Esta pandemia todos y a todos nos han sido afectados, unos más que otros, y el alivio no ha llegado a todos. Se ha demorado para unas personas más que a otras. Si solo camina por las calles de la ciudad, Manhattan, Brooklyn, en las calles comerciales, caminar por ellas para darse cuenta cuál es el estado de la economía. Muchos negociantes que tuvieron que cerrar, quisiéramos reactivar la economía. Hay que buscar más protección de cómo ser más flexibles o un contrato de arrendamiento más económico.
Yeah. Woo.
Que puedan acceder a la 1795, que esto es estabilización de la renta de pequeños negocios, donde muchos negocios cerraron y muchos vendedores perdieron ingresos por más de un año y no tener un estado migratorio. Y la ayuda debe de llegar de muchas formas. Y una de estas es más protección para los pequeños negocios. Ya que como soy un vendedor, estoy aquí apoyando a la economía de pequeños negocios y exigiendo la estabilización de la renta comercial.
Woo.
Thank you, Sonia. Gracias, Sonia. I'm going to translate for Sonia. So, hello, everyone. My name is Sonia Perez. I'm a street vendor and a member of the Street Vendor Project. Since long before the pandemic, small businesses have faced many problems and abuses, including not being able to renew their rental contracts due to inflation and rapid gentrification. The pandemic has only worsened the problems that already existed. Small businesses haven't been able to make income. During quarantine, many small businesses had to close, but they still had to pay rent and they still had to pay their bills. In this pandemic, everyone has been affected, some more than others. Many of us have not received relief, and it's been slower for some than for others. All you need to do is to walk down the streets of the city, in Manhattan and in Brooklyn, in our community. must create more protections for rental contracts and pass Intro 1795 for commercial rent stabilization. There are many small businesses and street vendors on commercial corridors as